Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing a whole look with products that can be found at Sephora. Their holiday savings event is going on right now, and I just wanted to showcase some other products that I was not able to fit into my recommendations video, or I haven't really been able to talk about in other videos. But there is one product that I want to really focus on. I want to do a wear test and everything and show you how it wears throughout the day. And that is the Tower 28 SunnyDays Broad Spectrum SPF 30 Mineral Tinted Sunscreen. I have it in the shade 15, and I also have it in the shade, I believe this is 25, Mulholland. Yeah, 15 is Melrose, and then I also have Mulholland, which I think is 25. This video is so kindly being sponsored by Sephora and Tower 28. Thank you guys so much for wanting to work with me. So let's go ahead and get into the application. All right, so let's do some quick swatches of the two shades that I have and see what works best for me. So let's start with 15 Melrose. Let me show you what the packaging looks like first. It is a squeezy tube, and it has this clear dispenser, which is really nice, so you can see when the product is coming out. So this one is Melrose. I was gonna swatch on my hand, but I think it makes more sense for me to swatch actually on my face. So let me squeeze a little bit out onto my fingertip here, and I feel like that's good for down here, but I think it's gonna be a little bit too light up here. But let's go ahead and try Mulholland. And there is Mulholland. They're very close. Yeah, I do feel like Melrose is better down here. Along my jawline, it's a little bit closer to my neck, which is so pale. My forehead is so much tanner, which I do think this is better. So I think it just depends on my preference. Do I want to use this and kind of bronze up the rest of my face, or do I want to use this one and kind of bronze my neck? I think I'll go with Melrose. That's what I'm going to go with. Okay, so let me just remove this, and let me just shake up Melrose again. And just gonna take a foundation brush and blend that in. So this is an alcohol-free, fragrance-free, and non-irritating formula made with powerhouse skincare ingredients that help soothe skin stressed from UV, blue light, and environmental damage. It has white sage, prickly pear, aloe, and centella. Ooh, interesting. Awesome. So I'm just applying it to this half of my face so we can do a little quick comparison to see what the coverage is like. Ooh, lovely. All right, so this is the coverage. I definitely see a bit of coverage. I would say it's a light medium. And you know what's wonderful? This is a mineral sunscreen. And usually I don't have the best luck with base products with mineral sunscreen in there because they end up looking kind of powdery, and they just look a little like there's like a little bit of a white cast. So I don't really see that in this at all, which is fantastic. But we're gonna do a full day wear test and check in again. Oh, lovely. But that is the SunnyDays from Tower 28. Let me go ahead and finish applying it to the rest of my face, and we'll take another look. All right, here it is, all over my face. What a lovely finish. And I've been keeping an eye on this side just to see if it oxidizes a little bit. Again, with like a mineral sunscreen, I've noticed that happens sometimes, but I'm not seeing any change happen to the actual shade and tone of this base product. And I love how there's like a little bit of a glow, but not too much, not too much. Again, with like sunscreen type products, I feel like I can look really oily really quickly, but this is really lovely. Okay, well, I'm a huge fan of Tower 28 products, as you guys know, so not surprised. Well, I am definitely gonna check in at the end of the day with you, and if I feel like there's anything to report midday, I'll also do another check-in. So before we move on, let's just do a close look at this foundation on my face right now. Let's go ahead and zoom into my forehead, and I'm just gonna pan down a little bit, and yeah, you'll see that it looks really smooth on the skin. You'll see that there's a little bit of radiance like underneath my eyes on my cheekbones, and that there's decent coverage. You can see that my spots, my age spots, and the hyperpigmentation that I have along my jawline are nicely camouflaged, not completely, you know, blanked out, but nicely camouflaged. All right, so that is our starting point. Well, I'm sitting here thinking, do I want to apply powder? Because I do really want to do like a wear test with this. And you know what? I'm gonna powder half of my face and we'll see what happens. So I've got my LYS Triple Fix Translucent Setting Powder in the shade Resilience. This is something I managed to squeeze into my recommendations for the Sephora Holiday Savings event, but I'm just loving this powder, so I wanted to use it again. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a powder brush and just press into the skin, and I'm gonna powder this side of my face, the right side of my face. I'm sure I'll be able to tell, but just in case I forget, it is the right side of my face. So yes, I do see that it mattified a little bit, but what I love about this powder so much is that it doesn't make my skin look dry and powdery. It just sets down my makeup. It just does a lovely job doing that. And yeah, it kind of leaves a little bit of that sheen coming through, but not quite as much as the unpowdered side. And then for bronzers, I wanted to use the Tower 28 Bronzino cream bronzers. Now, I went on and on about their cream blushes in my recommendations video, and their bronzers are nothing to sneeze at either. So I have Suncoast, which is a little bit lighter than West Coast. West Coast I think would be great for me in the spring, summertime, but yeah, Suncoast I think is probably a little bit more appropriate for this time of the year. But let me go ahead and swatch both just so you can see the shade difference. And much to my joy, both of these bronzers have a sheen to them, and I love cheek products with a sheen. So here is Suncoast and here is West Coast. You know, West Coast isn't even really that deep. Maybe I'll use this as blush and use this as bronzer. Maybe we'll do that since you've already seen me use their cream blushes plenty of times. So I'm actually going to use my finger. Yeah, so I'm going to go in with West Coast. Again, that's the deeper one, and I'm going to use this as bronzer and just picking some up with my finger here and using it to contour. And this is the side that I powdered, and their cream products work beautifully over or under powder, which is really, really nice when it comes to a cream product. So there is the Bronzino West Coast applied. I just applied it underneath my cheekbone, and I brought it up towards my temples a little bit. You know what I'm noticing that I'm really enjoying about this shade? It has like a little bit of a reddish undertone, which is really nice. Okay, so there's the Bronzino, just lightly applied. And there it is without, but I'm gonna apply some here, and I wanna try it with a brush so you guys can see it applied with a brush instead of fingers. So I'm just gonna pick some up and yeah, just focus it underneath my cheekbones and then up towards my temple here. Yeah, I wonder if you guys can see that reddish undertone. So lovely. It really makes it look like truly like you got some sun. Gorgeous. Okay. I wonder if I should apply some of the Suncoast, the lighter one, taking like a fluffier blush type brush because I want a little bit of a soft touch with this. So I'm just picking up a little bit of the bronzer, kind of spreading it out on the back of my hand just to make sure it's dispersed on the brush evenly. And then just lightly brushing that where I want to bronze. And then let's try it as blush. So I'm going to pick up a bit more here and focus it on the apples of my cheeks. Let's see how that works as blush. I'm probably going to want to go in with one of their Beach Please cream blushes. Yeah, that may be a little bit too subtle for me, as you guys know. I love my blush. So let's go in. Well, actually, let me even things out. I'm going to apply this to my right cheek here. And I'm gonna go in with Magic Hour. This is one of my favorite cream blush shades. It's so gorgeous. It is fairly neutral, a little bit of peach in there. You can even see a little bit of pink as well. It's just such a lovely universal shade. God, I love that Magic Hour. And that Bronzino. You know, it's so funny. It's like I thought that this West Coast, no, not the West Coast, the Suncoast shade was so subtle or whatever, but I can really see that it like brought some tan out of my face here, like on my forehead, down my nose, and then I put it on my chin here. No, I look really, really healthy. Wow, awesome. Okay, let's move on to highlight. Now, Tower 28 does have one cream highlight. It's called Super Dew, and it's one of those amazing highlights that really doesn't have pigment per se. It doesn't even have any shimmers or micro glitters. It is a highlight just from the actual like formula and the texture of the product. So It's just a balm, but it is gorgeous on the skin. So let me go ahead and pick a little bit up. The texture of it is a little bit softer than the blush and the bronze. And I just picked up a little bit too much, forgetting that. And I'm just going to tap. This is such a beautiful, like natural kind of highlight. It really mimics as if you've been outside and you're not necessarily like sweating, but you know, there's that healthy glow that's going on. I feel like that's what this mimics. It's really gorgeous. Here's a swatch of it, just to give you a better idea, because I don't know if the light is catching this on my cheekbone. I hope so. Isn't that so pretty? It's so glossy. And I love it. And you guys know I'm not really into like a tacky kind of cream product on the cheek. And while the Tower 28 products, I wouldn't say set down completely, they definitely lose their tack. So they're just really, really comfortable to wear. And it's not like one of those products where like your hair gets caught in it or anything. Just gorgeous. All right, moving on to eyebrows. I'm just gonna use my Tom Ford Brow Sculptor. This is the brow pencil I've been using and really quite enjoying, I have to say. All right, eyebrows are done. Let's move on to eyeshadow. So I finally picked up this Tom Ford quad. It is an Insolent Rose. This came out, I wanna say this past summer, and it was kind of hard to get a hold of. Finally, it's in stock. It is available at Sephora, and I wanted to give it a shot. So it is this one, which I have to say is a lot more pink in person. It's definitely described that way, but all the pictures that I saw of this online made it seem a little bit more neutral, but it is a very, very pinky quad. And by the sound of the name Insolent Rose, I should have assumed that, but the pictures really didn't tell me it was so pink, but not that I'm mad at it. I think it's really beautiful. But here are some swatches of the 4 shades. I basically did the 2 mattes here, and then I guess it's like kind of a satin shade, and then this topper shade over here in the upper right-hand corner. So those are the 4 shades in this Insolent Rose. I've already ruined it. I like dug my fingernail into this matte shade down here. Okay, let's start with this shade down here, and I'm going to apply that all over my lid. Oh, this shade blends out really nicely. When I first lay it down right along my lash line, I'm like, oh wow, that's a bright pink. But the more I work it, it blends out really beautifully. So I get this much softer pink, which is lovely. All right, next, let's apply this deeper shade. I'm going to apply it to the outer corners of my eyes just to give the look a little bit of dimension. All right, that shadow blended out beautifully as well. These are performing like pretty typical Tom Ford shadows. This is not that wet dry formula. These are the pressed powders, and they're lovely. They're lovely. They're very, very finely milled, really, really like silky to the touch. Just gorgeous. So I'm going to apply this topper with my finger. So I'm just going to run my finger over it, and I'm going to tap that right on to the center of my lid. Ooh, it's nice and bright. Oh, that's fun. And then, trying to think, what should I do with this very, very light, like bone matte shade? I guess I could apply it to my brow bone area underneath my eyebrows, and maybe to the inner portion of my lid. Yeah, that's a bright highlight, and it softens the edge of the other eyeshadows that I just put on, so that's nice. And this shade, I'm sorry I didn't notice until now, but this shade is actually a satin. It has some micro glitters in there, which I don't think actually translates onto the skin, but it definitely has like a very soft kind of satin sheen. Oh, what a nice surprise. And now I'm going to apply some of the deeper shade to my lower lash line. Pretty. I think this quad is actually quite lovely for this like cool toned mood that I've been in. This shade down here, I feel like, at least on my skin tone, it comes off a little bit more gray than brownish plum, which is when I look at it in the pan, that's sort of what I assumed it would look like on my skin, but I feel like it's a little bit grayer, and I think that looks really beautiful with the pink. Yeah, and I'm loving these cooler tones for the fall. All right, I'm gonna curl my eyelashes and I'll be right back to apply some mascara. All right, I'm just gonna use the Bobbi Brown Smoky Eye Mascara. This is a great mascara to make my lashes look really feathery. And the best part about this mascara is it doesn't flake or smudge or wear away horribly. It wears really nicely all day. And last but not least, the product that made me fall in love with Tower 28 in the first place, that is their Shine On Lip Jelly glosses. So they started with a bunch of like clearer shades, and I have talked about the shade Fire like endlessly because it is one of those beautiful orange lip shades that I love. And because it's a gloss, it's pretty sheer, and I've always talked about how this is a great like gateway into orangey colors if you're not quite sure about them. This is a wonderful place to start because it is like translucent. And then they came out with some milky versions. So I thought I would try this one, which is in the shade Coconut, because I have such a pinky eye look or pink toned eye look. I thought this would be really nice, this cooler one. But the milky versions of these Shine On lip jellies are, here's another one actually. This one is in the shade Oat. They're these beautiful, beautiful, like neutral nude kind of tones. And they're so beautiful. So let me go ahead and apply this Coconut. Do you see the beautiful finish that this lip gloss has? It is so beautiful. I love it. I love this kind of like soft satin finish to a lip gloss versus the like super high shine glossy glass-like lip glosses. I just feel like, I mean, there's definitely a place for those. I can imagine putting that on for like a party or something, but I think for the everyday, those lip glosses always just make me look like I'm drooling. I don't know what it is, but I love these Tower 28 lip glosses. I have, I think, pretty much almost every single shade, but this Fire shade and all of these milky shades are so good. Oh look, I have another one. Here is Almond. So these are the milky ones, and then these are the originals. And I even have this topper shade. It's called Magic. This is part of the original line. So pretty. It's got like gold flecks in there. Anyway, this, like I mentioned, is the product that had me just fall in love with Tower 28 in the first place. And that's when I got into the cream blushes. Anyway, it's been a love affair ever since. So let's take a look and see how the SunnyDays Broad Spectrum SPF 30 Tinted Sunscreen, let's take a look at how this is worn throughout the day. Hey guys, so it is at the end of my day. It is about 5:30 in the afternoon, and I have had this makeup on for like 9.5 hours. And look at this wear. I'm gonna just zoom right in, and we're gonna start at the forehead and just kind of scan down my eye area, the nose area, and then down by my jaw. So I've had my mask on and off 3 times today. I ran a couple of errands, and I am so impressed at how this seemingly innocent tinted sunscreen has worn. It looks so beautiful, like around my eyes, around my forehead, around the oilier parts of my face where things tend to wear away, like not so gracefully if they do wear away. Like the area around my mouth sometimes will start to look a little cakey. None of that. And what is so amazing is when I've used other tinted sunscreens that have just mineral sunscreen, like this Tower 28 one, it will sometimes like dry down, and then by the end of the day, all I see is like the sunscreen left on my skin. It's almost like a powdery white sometimes that's left over, and that's usually just like where the foundation maybe has worn away, or the pigmentation, I should say, has kind of worn away, but not the sunscreen. And so I'll get that like on my forehead sometimes, I'll get it around my nose sometimes, but there is absolutely none of that. None of that. I am really, truly impressed by this. Yeah, non-nano zinc oxide, 12.6% active ingredients. It's reef safe, mineral sunscreen, alcohol free. It's safe for sensitive skin, vegan, cruelty free, won't cause breakouts. And I believe that the creator of Tower 28 suffers from eczema, which I do as well. And this has a stamp actually on the bottle here. It's this blue stamp here, and it says it's accepted by the National Eczema Association. So that is wonderful. I mean, these are all like really, really amazing things for me personally and for you guys if you suffer from eczema, if you have sensitive skin, if you don't have good luck with like chemical sunscreen. I've heard that quite a bit as well from, you know, people who ask me for my opinion or for suggestions, like, you know, are there more mineral sunscreens you can suggest? Because I do suggest a lot of chemical sunscreens, which don't personally bother my skin, but I know a lot of people have issues with chemical sunscreens. So this only having mineral sunscreen, I think is fantastic. So amazing. This too, by the way, is 1 fluid ounce. I don't think I mentioned that either. So again, I'm wearing shade 15 Melrose, and just a quick note about everything else. The eyeshadow is wearing really well. And I even had a little bit of an allergy issue. I started to like rub my eyes just a little bit. And then I was like, I have eye makeup on right now, but the mascara didn't budge and the eyeshadow actually stayed in place. So amazing. This was the Bobbi Brown Smoky Mascara, and this was that Tom Ford Insolent Rose. So pretty. And the blush is still there. The only thing that's not still there is the lip gloss, but that's to be expected. I've been eating all day. A lot of snacking. So anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, a big thank you to Sephora and Tower 28 for sponsoring this video, and big fan of this SunnyDays tinted sunscreen. But that's it, folks. I will see you very, very soon in another video.